Lindsey Graham is a senator, the senior senator from the state of South Carolina, one of the most conservative, reliably Republican states out of 50. And he has been in Congress since 1994, so that would be 31 years. And he is running for yet another term as a U.S. senator. He's 70 years old. He'd like to serve till he's 77. And he has the support, not simply of the White House. He has an endorsement from the president, but he has more donor support probably than anyone who's ever run in the history of the United States. I mean, Lindsey Graham has so much donor support, and donors, just as a numerical question, probably represent, 1/100 of 1% of the American population, but have a great deal higher proportion of the money. He's the most popular candidate they've ever backed. He's like a higher IQ, less grading Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis. And so they'll be backing him, and all things being equal, he will be reelected. And so why does this matter? Well, it matters not because Lindsey Graham is like a horrible person. I mean, he may be a horrible person. The truth is Lindsey Graham is actually a very charming person and a very interesting dinner partner and a fun person to be with, hilariously funny. I met him for the first time. I was his seatmate on a campaign bus in 1999. He was a member of Congress, and we spent a couple of weeks sitting next to each other. And by the end, I thought to myself, I love this guy. He's hilarious. Always a joke. Always has a drink in his hand. Like he's genuinely a cheerful person. Probably fun to play golf with. So the reason that this is an important race is not because Lindsey Graham is like Mark Levin, someone if you were stuck in an elevator with him, you'd have to obviously kill yourself because you couldn't handle it. He's not that. You'd enjoy being stuck in an elevator with him. The reason it's so important is because Lindsey Graham is the living symbol of the old Republican Party, the Republican Party that did a lot, almost as much as the Democratic Party, to destroy the United States. And so if he is reelected next November, that will be a sign that actually the democratic system doesn't work. Lindsey Graham's views are not popular. They are despised in the state of South Carolina. His views, if you were to disaggregate Lindsey Graham from what he believes and just poll Republican primary voters in South Carolina, do you agree with this? Lindsey Graham would be less popular than the Democrat because his views are repugnant to Republican voters and to Trump voters. And so if he were to get elected anyway, it would tell you that the system doesn't respond to the concerns of voters. And therefore, the system isn't working and isn't legitimate because the point of the system is to respond to those concerns. And so a lot is at stake. If Lindsey Graham wins, it will be the most dispiriting thing to happen in American politics in a very, very long time. So if Kamala Harris were to win in the last, a year ago tonight, it would be horrible. She'd be an awful president, probably even worse than Biden, insecure, fragile, weird, dumb. You can just imagine, nightmare. But at least you could say, well, she was elected by a party that kind of agrees with her. Kamala Harris got elected because the Democrats are insane. Okay. What's the excuse if you're a Republican voter, if you're a Trump voter, for electing Lindsey Graham? Hard to think of one. So just want to spend a couple of minutes before we go to one of the men challenging Lindsey Graham in the Republican primary next June, Paul Dans, who we're going to talk to in a minute. We want to go through a couple of things you should know about Lindsey Graham. So if Graham gets reelected, it'll be because the true Lindsey Graham, his record, his views, his priorities, his dark impulses are all lost in the haze of propaganda that surrounds him, and people only know him through the political ads that his donors paid for. So we think it's important for people to know who he actually is. So we're going to start with a clip. We could do this for like 8 hours, but we're going to do this for like 20 minutes because we want to get to the guest. But we're going to start with a clip from this past Saturday, I think this past weekend. And Lindsey Graham was giving a speech to the Republican Jewish Coalition, I think in Vegas. And he was one of many speakers who were getting hysterical and threatening violence against Republicans who don't agree with them and jumping up and down and raging about the Nazis. The Nazis. 80 years after we defeated them. And Lindsey Graham was probably in some ways less hysterical, but he was the kind of most important office holder at this event. And he said a couple of things that really reveal the program precisely. Here is Lindsey Graham this last weekend.
He recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Why? Because if you got a problem with that, take it up with God. He's the guy that did it, not Trump. So I just want to say, I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes.
So there are a couple things to notice about this that really tell you everything you need to know about Lindsey Graham. First, and we left the context of, he's defending Donald Trump. He's saying, not defending, Trump is probably pretty popular in the room, but he's saying, remember, Trump's like a great president. Why is he great? Well, because he moved the U.S. embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. What? I mean, okay, you can make a case for it or not, but why should I care exactly? It's a purely symbolic move. It has actual consequences internally in Israel, but it doesn't even pretend to improve your life. Graham didn't get up and say, he made prescription drugs cheaper. He's going to lower your health insurance, make it easier for your kids to buy a home. He got the cities under control. They're now safe. You can use the parks. He's improving the schools. You couldn't send your kids to public school. Now you can. You can use the emergency rooms again because he's deported 10 million illegal aliens who were hogging the space, which is where we currently are. No. The reason you should love Trump is because he moved the embassy, the U.S. embassy, in a foreign country from one city to another. Huh? Why does that matter? Well, Lindsey Graham explained why it matters. Because God commanded it. Oh, if you don't like that, take it up with God. So God, it turns out, and this may be in one of the non-canonical books in the scriptures, God wanted the U.S. State Department to move the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. I mean, it's like kind of a basic tenet of our faith. It may even be in the catechism. What? And of course, given the venue, no one raised a hand and said, I'm sorry, Lindsey Graham, not a Bible scholar here, but how do we know that God wanted the State Department to move an embassy, 80 miles or whatever the distance is, from one city to another? How do we know that's God's preference? But this is kind of a tick of Lindsey Graham. So he explained recently that if you have a problem with Israel, God will kill you. And that would include the United States. He said, I'm almost quoting him here, if the United States abandons Israel, God will abandon the United States and kill us all. We'll die if we don't support, as he calls it, Israel. Israel. This is the Mike Huckabee pronunciation, Israel, which may be some kind of dog whistle meant to telegraph that I'm really on your side. It may be like the Kyiv rather than Kiev. When you call it Israel, it's yeah, I got it. We're on the same page. But anyway, so the first thing we learn is the most important fact to know about Trump. The reason you should love him is because he supports Israel. Second is God demands whatever sort of policy at the moment is God's will. Lindsey Graham, who just guessing, probably not a Bible scholar. And if he is, he's skipping over certain parts of the book. Excuse me. And the third thing to learn, and this really is the heart of Lindsey Graham, is that the Republican Party is doing what you voted for us to do. And that is, and I'm quoting now, cutting your taxes and killing all the right people. So that's the perfect distillation. Lindsey Graham is clever. He's hardly a genius. He's not a philosopher or anything, but he has summed up the Republican Party that Donald Trump overthrew more precisely than any person I've ever heard in my life. Cutting your taxes and killing all the right people. Because that really is the crispest way to describe the marriage of libertarian economics and neocon foreign policy. Cutting taxes and killing. And if you think about it, who'd want to be associated with that? Not an argument for higher taxes. Higher taxes can be bad. But cutting taxes is not a virtue in itself. The point is, if people are overburdened by the tax system, if it's hurting them, and we're not getting a lot out of it, if it's growing some completely impenetrable democracy that's hurting the country, which it is, by the way, then of course you want to cut taxes, I guess, to starve the cancer or whatever. You can make the argument. But cutting taxes itself is hardly a virtue. It's a contextual matter. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. It totally depends. But in Lindsey Graham's simplistic but heartfelt formulation, cutting taxes is just a positive good always. And so is killing people. Killing people. You can sum up foreign policy. Killing people. Killing the right people. No, they got to be the right people. But killing people. Killing people is just a good thing. It's one of those things you don't need to describe. It's like sex with your wife. It's just good. Have you killed someone today? Oh, good. You have? Okay, good. That's how he thinks of it. And if you take 3 steps back, I mean, you're sort of tempted if you've known Lindsey Graham, like I have for 25 years, you're like, yeah, it's Lindsey Graham. You know, he's always saying these provocative things. But if you think about it for a second, like, you're a sick fuck if you say something like that, much less if you believe it. Killing people? Have you ever met anyone who's killed someone? You probably have. You may be someone who's taken a human life. It's a very heavy thing. And it's something that even if you win the fight and walk away and the other man doesn't, it stays with you for life because it's the heaviest thing there is. And it's the most forbidden thing there is. It's the darkest thing there is. We don't create life. And except under very rare specific circumstances, we're not allowed to extinguish it because we're not God. And so if you're casually encouraging other people to kill, and if you're gleefully in front of an audience applauding like seals, bragging about the killing that you are doing, you know, you're not on the team you think you are. That's really evil. Most coffee companies sell weakness, watered down drinks from faceless corporations that don't care about you or your family. Black Rifle, which not to brag is in this cup right here, is very different. It's roasted and brewed in this country without apology by patriotic men and women. The coffee is built by people who love the U.S. and know what it means to fight for it. We know them. We know the guys who run it. We've known them for a long time, and we know this is true. They're special forces veterans, ranchers, just decent people. They're the best of us, and the coffee is strong. The energy drinks, ooh, even stronger. It's not sugar water, not empty marketing. Fuel for people who get up early, work late, keep this nation running. Every purchase helps support veterans, first responders, law enforcement. From bold roast to ready-to-drink cans, mugs, T-shirts, gear, Black Rifle makes products with pride. Can a lot of companies say that? No, they can't. Visit blackrifle.com. Use code Tucker for 30% off your first order. That's blackriflecoffee.com. Code Tucker, or pick it up at your local convenience or grocery store. You will love it. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.